Okay, this question is really interesting. It says solve, and then it gives us a quadratic. But our quadratic includes surds. So our coefficient of our x squared is a square root 3. And our coefficient of our x is a 2 plus square root 3. And then our constant at the end is a 2 by itself. So it asks us to solve. We can, of course, use the minus b formula here. Okay, and if we decide to use the minus b formula, it is just a case of making sure that we sub it in really, really carefully. Okay, so a really, really careful sub in there if we do use the minus b formula. So those are the values that I would sub in if I use the minus b formula. Don't forget, when you're subbing in for b, you should put the full thing in brackets. At one point, this is going to have to go into your calculator squared. Okay, and if you have that minus outside, then it is not going to work out for you. Okay, so if that's something that's going to be confusing with double brackets, you could write b as minus 2 minus square root 3 if you wanted, and then that way you could sub it in brackets every time. That's fine. Okay, the other way we could do this is using our factorizing, which I think is just a bit funner, a bit more of a challenge to our usual factorizing, really test our understanding of our factorizing. Okay, so the other way that would be really nice to try this is to recognize that our leading coefficient is not 1. So I am going to have to do my slightly longer way of factorizing a quadratic trinomial. Okay, so my slightly longer way of factorizing a quadratic trinomial is where I multiply the leading coefficient by the constant at the end. So in this case, 2 square root 3. And I find what multiplies together to give me that. So something like 2 times the square root 3. And adds to give me what's in the middle. Okay, so here, what's adding to give me in the middle here is a minus 2 and a minus square root 3. Okay, so just remember that. Again, if it's really confusing, you can change that minus to being a plus and put the minuses inside here. Okay, so what I actually have here is a minus 2x and a minus square root 3x, which is these two things that I need. Okay, so either a 2 by square root 3x, or sorry, square root 3, or a minus 2 and a minus square root 3. So this is the one that I'm going to use because of that minus outside the bracket. So I'm going to rewrite this middle part with those two. Okay, so that I'll end up with square root of 3 x squared, and then either my minus 2x, I'll actually put this in blue. Actually, let me skip a few lines. It doesn't matter what order I put them in. Okay, so it's up to you completely. Some people probably saw, oh well, let's match up for the grouping for the next part, the square root 3 with the square root 3. You absolutely can do that, or you can actually put in the minus 2x. First, it's up to you. Both will work out the same. Okay, look, I'll do out where I've matched them together so that it will match up with more of the ones that you guys done. And then don't forget to carry down the plus 2 from the end. Now, all I have to do is my grouping method. So look at the first two grouped together and look at the last two grouped together. Okay, so here, if I look at these two and do highest common factor, I would take out a square root 3x and be left with x minus 1. And if I take out these two together, I would take out a minus 2 and be left with x minus 1. And carry down my equals 0. And now I can see there from when I have them grouped that I have the same thing inside both brackets. So the brackets are in common, which means I take what's outside both brackets and put them together in one bracket, either the first or second, it doesn't matter. And then I put the bracket in common in the other bracket. Okay, that's it, factorized. It didn't ask me to factorize, it asked for me to solve. Okay, so to solve, I have to let each bracket that's multiplying equal to 0 and rearrange both of them. Okay, so if I want to rearrange this one, I will get that the square root of 3 times x is equal to 2. So x is equal to 2 over square root 3. Now, if you want, you can rationalize the denominator. You don't have to. In this one, x is equal to 1. Okay, so that's one way of doing it out. This other way, if I just really quickly go through it, my minus b formula. So x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So if I was to go and fill that in, it's going to be minus by the minus. So that's automatically going to go to a plus. But I'll fill it in with the minus outside anyway. 2 plus square root 3. Okay, plus or minus the square root of, and we're going to have, so b squared. So a minus by a minus is going to go to a plus, and then my 2 plus square root 3 has to be squared out. Okay, squared minus 4 times a, so times square root of 3 times c, so 2. And don't forget the square root has to be over all of that. And then that's all over 2 times square root 3. Okay, so you could really, really carefully type that into your calculator. Okay, or you can try and do some more of it out just in case you were to make a silly mistake putting it into your calculator. Sometimes I think this is a bit nicer to do. So here a minus by a minus is a plus, and then I will have 2 plus square root 3 plus or minus the square root of. Okay, so here my minus by minus gives me a plus, and then I have 2 plus square root 3 squared, which is going to give me 4 plus 4 square root 3 plus 3. Okay, and then I have minus 4 by square root 3 by 2, so that's minus 8 square root 3. Okay, and that's all over 2 square root 3. And again, at this point now, you could definitely type it into your calculator. Or you could go and start simplifying again so that you get 2 plus square root 3 plus or minus the square root of 7 minus 4 square root 3 all over 2 square root 3. Okay, I'm going to put it into my calculator twice. Once where I have it with a plus, where the plus or minus is. So remember, if I do let a subscript, it's just a label. We don't need to write it. So I can just write x equals. Okay, and once with a minus. So x equals and x equals. Okay, so let's put it in twice, and we get x equals 1 and x equals 2 square root 3 over 3. Now, why are those answers different to what I got over here? 1 is the same, and then this one here is because my calculator automatically rationalizes my denominator. Okay, so if I had put this 2 divided by square root 3 into my calculator, it wouldn't have given me 2 divided by square root 3. It would have given me 2 square root 3 over 3, because it's automatically going to rationalise my denominator for me. Okay? Just a note, give the exact value for your answers. So if you go and round this, even to 4 decimal places, you are not getting your full 10 marks. Okay, so you can't round that, you can't put that down in decimal places. If you do that, you're not giving it in the form that they have asked.